I think we just got a crazy good deal on this bike right here. This is a 1971 on a CL350 Scrambler. Looks to be in excellent condition. I wiped off the tank. There's some dust on there, but the paint is really clear, really nice. You can see all the dust from it sitting. But chrome looks good, everything looks good. But I actually bought this from an older guy off of Facebook Marketplace. He had this thing listed for 600 bucks. I was one of the first people to reach out to him. I offered 4, he said come grab it. So we got this bike for 400 bucks. I got there and the guy said that he last rode this thing in the year 2000. So 25 years ago. You can see the plate. But he said it's always been a reliable bike. He's never had issues with it. He's owned this thing for a long time. He said he started having issues with it when he let this thing sit for a couple years. So he let this thing sit from 1998 to 2000. And he said he went to go start it up after those 2 years and it would not fire. He said he actually went through the fuel system, changed out the gas, went through the carbs, and he could not get it to fire up. So he said he let it sit in the garage for another 25 years, and he did the same thing before he went and sold it. He said he gave it one more shot, went through the fuel system, changed out all the gas, went through the carbs, and he couldn't get it to go. So that's when he decided to list it up for sale. So it's been 25 years since this bike last ran. So I'm hoping today we can get this one up, running, and driving by the end of the video. And I'm hoping there's nothing seriously wrong with it. I'm hoping there's just something easy that the guy overlooked. But as you can see, no rips in the seat. The chrome is immaculate. It's 100% complete. I haven't found one missing part on it. It's got the blinkers, the lights, the gauges, and the best part is the low mileage. Only 6,501 miles on it. It's not bad. I mean, it's a pretty clean bike. And look at the pipes. Best part of the bike are the pipes. And those are nice. Chrome will come back on those. But yeah, these bikes were made from 1969 to 73, so only 4 years. So these are kind of hard to find in all original condition, and especially in this condition. I mean, everything is really clean on it. So I think this has potential to be a really nice bike. I'm guessing this would bring right around $2,000 in running condition. So we got it for 4. And it could potentially be worth $2,000 by the end of the day. So let's get this thing off the trailer, start working on it, see what we find. Alright, little walk around, get a couple good shots of it. The bike has nice lines. You can see the tag up here, 1971 right there. So it is in fact 1971. Not a bad looking bike. Kick it over a couple times and see what happens. Let's see if there's compression. Well, it definitely feels like there's compression, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Alright, we got this bike in the garage. Let's start looking at it. First thing I want to do is check out the gas tank. I'm very curious to see what this looks like. Doesn't look too bad. Let's take a look. Cap looks pretty decent, little surface rust. Oh, it's not horrible. Definitely not horrible. Just a light surface rust. There's no big chunks or anything, so I think the seller probably cleaned it out. Alright, there's a dipstick right here. It says it takes 2 liters of 10W40. Not seeing much on the dipstick. Let's put the bike a little more straight. See if it comes out. Oh yeah, there's oil on it. Looks brand new. I wonder if the seller did an oil change before selling it. Yeah, that looks really, really clear. So oil checks out. Alright, we gotta check out the toolkit. Is there one in here? Knowing this guy, he probably left it in there. Oh, what do we have here? Original toolkit. Oh, look at that. I think every tool is in there too. That's pretty cool. With the original tool bag. Yeah, you don't see that every day. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's see if the bike turns on. Go down to the key. Oh yeah. It's very, very dim, but the headlight's turning on. Neutral light's not coming on. At least I don't think it is. It's really low on battery. Let's see if anything else works. Horn. You can kind of hear it. I think the battery is just dead. Blinker. Yeah, we'll have to put a jumper to it. Oh, I don't think the seat latches. So it is missing something here for the seat. Alright, so we don't have a seat latch. I know it's dead. It's a lithium battery. Huh. I do have a charger. So we can take that out and get that on the charger right away. Go. Alright, we've got the lithium battery charging here, so hopefully that is still good. Alright, here we go. Let's see what happens when we turn the key. Oh, there we go. Neutral light lights up. Headlight is nice and bright. Blinkers. Oh yeah. They're even blinking. Wow. Look at that. Horn. Now, will the start button work? Oh yeah. That's awesome. So everything's working. Let's see if we're getting any gas to the carbs. Doesn't want to come off. Alright, get our cup underneath here. See if anything comes out. Oh yeah. We've got gas coming out. Coming out pretty good. Looks a little dark, doesn't it? Yeah, I think this thing's been sitting longer than what he was saying. He said he just changed out the gas. That doesn't look like fresh gas to me. Alright, let's take a look. It's not too dark, but it's definitely not fresh. I'm not seeing any water in it. Doesn't look absolutely horrible, but we're definitely changing that out. Looks like there's a crossover tube as well that goes underneath the gas tank. So I think what we're gonna do is take a look at the filters before we investigate the spark. He gave me a filter that went with the bike. I think he had it off because he was doing the carbs. Well, let's see. Yeah, there's nothing underneath here. So it looks like there's a pod filter on this side. That's interesting. This looks like it's kind of tricky to take off. I might get a heat gun in there and try to take that cover off. I'd like to see what that pod filter looks like. Tabs in these covers break off really easily, so you want to take a heat gun and warm those up a bit. The rubbers just get really hardened up over time. That one's still a little cold. There we go. So usually these little tabs break off. People just try to pry them off. I was barely on there though. So I wonder if the guy thought there was something wrong with the air filters and then put pod filters on, or, you know, when did he put these on? They look new. So maybe he tried to get this thing to run with pod filters. I'm not sure. That's working. Let's get this tank off of here next. I hate those crossover tubes because you can't take out the gas tank without taking out that tube. Plug that back up here. Kind of a pain. Alright, gas tank is off. Now we have access to everything. We can take the carbs out easy. That carb looks kind of loose in there, doesn't it? See if the throttle works. Yep, that's snapping back. Let's see what the inside of the carbs look like. Looks like those butterflies are opening. You can kind of see in there. So those aren't locked up or anything. Alright, right plug coming out. Right away this boot kind of looks like it's half on here. Maybe not. We'll take a look though. Ooh, that just fell right off. But wire looks good in there. It wasn't on very tight. Let's really get that on nice and tight here. There we go. Oh, definitely not new plugs. B8ES plug. Looks like it was running pretty good at one point. Not a ton of carbon on there or anything. We'll get a little penetrating oil down the cylinders. I know I kicked it over a couple times, but maybe those rings are a little stuck. A little bit down there to help it out. On to the next side. Alright, same thing. Check the boot. Yeah, wire looks good. Get this back on. I'm guessing we have spark. You would think the guy would have checked that, but you never know. Alright, let's get the plug out. Let's see here. That one's not a new plug either. Looks about the same as the other side. Looks pretty decent BADS plug. Again, a little penetrating oil down there. Kick this thing over a couple times, see if it's smooth. Oh yeah. Feels really smooth. Let's see if we have any spark. I am not seeing anything. That's weird. You guys see anything? I'm right to the engine here. Nothing at all. Let's try the other plug here quick. Maybe it's just a bad plug. Nothing. Alright, that's interesting. Well, that could be the problem. Anything on this side? Alright, here we go. Come on, have something. Nothing at all. Try the other plug. Nothing. Alright. Let's quick check the wires over. See if everything's plugged in. Turn this off again. What's this big mess? Okay. There's a connection there. That looks somewhat bad. Looks like brown and red. Let's see. We're gonna get rid of that one and we'll just solder those up. This goes in here like that. You can see the solder's melted in there. So that should be making a good connection now. We can check for spark after that. Pretty important wires. The condenser's up there too. Hopefully that's not bad. But all the other wires look like they're plugged in. Yeah, those are all connected here. These look like the main ones right here. Going to the coils here, so. I don't even know if that wire mattered, but we'll try it again. See if we get anything. Alright, turn it on. Here we go. Yeah, nothing. But at least that wire's fixed now. Yeah, all the wires look connected, everything looks good. Alright, underneath this cover, we're gonna find the points. I mean, it has been sitting for a long time. Oh, those are really dirty. Why did the guy forget to clean the points? Oh yeah, it's got a huge layer of dirt on it. Or carbon or something. Yeah, those are extremely dirty. Yeah. That's why we didn't have sparks. So let's get those cleaned up. Yeah, they're pretty gunked. Huh. Really dirty. Cleaning off pretty easily though. But there's a heavy layer on there. We can check the points gap too. Make sure that's correct. Let's see if that's cleaned up. A little bit more in the center, which is where it makes a contact. Top one feels good. All right, that one looks good. Let's get the other one cleaned up. That one wasn't as bad, but still a ton of gunk on there. That one's getting clean. There's some way in the corner there. Alright, well, let's try this again. Alright, turn the bike on. Let's see what we get. Zoom in a little closer here. Alright. Come on, please be there. Otherwise, it's something else causing issues. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is really good spark. Sparking at the point's really bad, though. But we do have spark. Could just be from the stuff I put on there, the brake cleaner. Both points are sparking like crazy. Let's go check for spark on the other cylinder. See if we get anything. Oh yeah. There we go. That's a nice blue spark. I don't know if that condenser's bad. It's really sparking at the point. That looks pretty good. Spark looks pretty consistent. Let's see if it's still sparking at the points. You can always check the points gap too. Sparking a little bit from that one. Yeah, it's still sparking at the points. Alright, so what we're going to do is check out the point gap and the ignition timing. So to do that, we're going to take off the cover here, down below, so we can rotate the engine over. Can we get the cover off without taking the shifter off? Yep. Alright, so there's a couple different marks on the flywheel here. So you can see there's LF, LT. So LF is left fire. That's when you want the spark plug to fire. LT is tapped at center. That's for adjusting the valves, which we'll do here soon too. And then you're gonna see the F and the T with a line. F is for fire on the right plug. T is for tapped at center on the right plug. So we are going to first set this to LF. on the compression stroke, come up here and see when these points are firing. Adjust this to LF on compression stroke, and you can find compression stroke pretty easily by putting your finger over this and feeling for compression as you spin the engine over. If you feel compression coming out of the hole, you know you're on the compression stroke. If not, you're 180 out and need to rotate the engine over another 360 degrees. So LF is pretty close right there. This is a 14 millimeter, by the way. So we're gonna line up the LT. There's a little notch right there on this coil here. So let's go take my finger, put it in the spark plug hole, and see if we're at the compression stroke here. You can hear it. Yep. So right, you can hear my finger. There's air releasing. So we know we're at the compression stroke right there. So we just have to hold it there, lined up with that mark. Now if you come up to our points, you can see right now, the points just open and close right there. But we need to fine tune that so it's opening right at the exact second we hit that line. All right, we're gonna take our positive end alligator clip directly to this nut down here. So that is going to positive, and then we can put this pretty much anywhere to ground. You're gonna watch the LF go to the notch right there. As it goes to that notch, you should hear a beep right when it hits that notch. So right there. You can see the line is lined up with the notch right there. So that's when it's firing right there. So right when it hits that line. So the left side points are perfect. And we can actually set the gap as well. But that looks pretty good. That points gap should be right around 0.015 inches. So we've got the feeler gauge here. As you can see, it's perfect there. So the guy set that gap perfectly. So that checks out. Let's go to the right side and check the ignition timing there. So we can put our alligator clip to this post, which is a little bit loose. Let's tighten that up. That nut is just a little loose on there. You can see it's wobbly. All right, that's no longer loose on there. So we can put our alligator clip right to there. Hit the F on the compression stroke. So put our thumb over the spark plug hole here. Go one more time around here. There's the compression stroke there. You can hear it turn on and off. That's set perfectly too. Right when the F hits that mark, you should hear a beep, and that's when it's sparking. So right there. It is perfect. So that is spot on. Right there. Disconnect that. Again, we're at 0.015 inches. Oop. Got this on. And it just slides in. So, points gap is perfect as well. So ignition timing is spot on. Points gap is spot on. Let's check the valves next. Let's get our valve caps off. All right, this is the left intake coming off. Get our exhaust off of here. All right. We're going to rotate this over until we see the LT. Let's see. Okay. Now we got to rotate it one more time until we're on the compression stroke here. There we go. LT is right there. Yep. You can see we're perfectly lined up with LT. We come up here and you should be able to hear the valves opening and closing. Hear that? Like a click. And then the intake. Alright, valve clearance for the intake is 2/1000ths of an inch, and for the exhaust it's going to be 4/1000ths. So get our feeler gauge in there. Alright, 2/1000ths fits in perfect. Perfect. Alright, let's check our exhaust. That should be at 4/1000ths. Let's see. Perfect. Just scrapes in there. Alright, right side cap's coming off. Alright, that one came off. That one was on there pretty good. Alright, now we're going to spin the engine until we hit the T mark, the plain T mark. That's for the right side. And we want to be on the compression stroke. So I'll rotate this over again. There we go. Alright, T is lined up perfectly with that notch. Coming up over here, you can feel the valve rocker is loose, so we can adjust those. Again, intake is going to be 2/1000ths of an inch. Let's see if that fits in there. Perfect. Exhaust is going to be 4/1000ths of an inch. So let's get that one measured up. Just slides in. See it just catching? That's perfect. So we can get these caps back on. Valve clearances are absolutely perfect. So the seller did adjust those. All right, now we know that the ignition timing is spot on. We have good spark and the valve clearances are perfectly within spec. The only issue we're still having is it's still sparking at the points quite a bit. We're gonna keep an eye on that, see if that goes away after the first run. We know we have spark. Let's check compression next, see if we have compression. All right, gauge going in. Compression on this bike should read right around 170 PSI. So if we're anywhere around that, number, we should be good. And that's with throttle open. Open, see what we get. $180. That's what I like to see. So compression on the right cylinder is perfect. Alright, we're looking out so far. Alright, if we have 180 here, we are going to be good to go. Throttle open. $170 on the left side, so a little bit lower than the right. That is perfect. So we now have spark and compression. Let's go after the carbs. Let's get the right carb off. Well, this one felt pretty loose on here. I don't know if the guy forgot to tighten it down. That was pretty tight. I don't know why that felt so loose. Let's see if we can get her out. Yeah, came out pretty easily. Alright. Now we can get this throttle cable off. So right carb is off. Alright, let's get the left side carb off of here. Now the seller said he cleaned the carbs already, so we'll see. Throttle cable off. See what that gas looks like. Looking for any water in the gas. Something that would have caused this bike not to run. It's pretty dark though. Kind of nasty looking. Alright. Definitely looks clean. It does look like the seller cleaned the carbs. Let's see if these were clear. Yep. Yep. It's coming. Sometimes there's gas that can get trapped in here. There's a pinhole in the float. Nope, I don't hear any gas, so that looks good. Let's see what the needle looks like. Needle looks good. Alright, let's take off the screw here and get to the seat. Sometimes the O-ring in there can be bad. Let's take a look. That looks brand new too. The O-ring looks perfect. pilot. Let's see if she's plugged up. Yeah, she's pretty plugged up. So the pilot looks like a 38 screw here. See me turns out you are about 1 on the fuel screw here. Springs in there. Diaphragm looks good so far. Let's see. There's water droplets on there though. Huh. Definitely had some water in there. Diaphragm's not ripped at all. Needle's nice and tight in there. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, right carb is done. Let's take a look at the left. See if there's any gas in there. Yep, it was getting gas. It's pretty dark. Really clean. Looks really good. Take these guys off. Yep. No pinhole in there. Needle. Looks good. Pilot's underneath here. Pilot's out. That one's a 38 as well. That one was clear. Looked good. This up and poke through. There we go. See if that looks good. That O-ring is shot. So the other one was good, this one's shot. It's a good thing we took that off. Let's take a peek at the diaphragm. Spring was in there, that's good. Needles on there tight. Nope, no rips in the diaphragm. We'll get everything cleaned up, back together. Carbs didn't look too bad. All right, carburetors are all done. Let's get these back on the bike. All right, we got the carburetors back on. Let's get the old gas out of the tank. All right, we got the gas tank hooked up. Let's add a filter to these lines. There's some surface rust in the gas tank, so I want to make sure we don't have any rust going to the filter here. So arrow pointing down. And that gets hooked up like that. This one needs a filter as well. Put the filter right here. Again, arrow pointing down. Where's the arrow? There it is. Alright. Here's Here's the other one. That can be installed. Let's get our plugs back in here. This plug back in. We're going to keep an eye on the points here. See if they're sparking a ton when this thing's running. Because it could be that condenser yet causing issues. Alright, the original filter, they actually look pretty good. I took this apart and I'll show you guys. Doesn't look horrible. I'm gonna put that back in. This can go just like this. There's a bolt that goes up here. I'll tighten that down once we get the bolt that goes through here on. It's gonna look like this. Goes all the way through. And again, I'm gonna bolt that up. Let's see if the petcock works. Take a look at the filter. Oh yeah, gas is flowing through. Well, the battery didn't like that. Holy cow. Better get that out of here before it blows up here. Holy. That's not good. Well, I think we're ready for the first start attempt. We've got fresh fuel going to the carbs. Carbs are all cleaned out. We've got good spark and good compression, so there's no reason this thing shouldn't fire up. You guys saw that the lithium battery is now junk. My charger was set to lithium mode, but apparently it must have overcharged it or the battery was bad, but it was smoking like crazy. So we'll have to get a new battery for it, but before we do that, let's just see if it runs. So we'll hook up a jumper to it, crank this thing over and see what happens here. This will be the first time it runs in 25 years if it fires up. Hopefully it does. Here we go. Choke it. Because my gas is off. That might be why. They had the choke on. Idling really low. Sounds good, no ticking, no smoking. She fired right up, so I don't know if the seller forgot to clean the points or what. They're not sparking too much. That looks pretty good. Let's see if both pipes are hot. Yeah, both pipes are getting hot. So it's running on both cylinders. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Wow. Huh. Bogging a little bit now. We're having some issues. Alright, it's still not wanting to idle, so what we did was adjust the fuel screw out another turn on each carb. Right now, it's at 2 turns out. It was at 1. So let's see if that makes a big difference. Oh yeah, so it was a little bit lean on the pilot. Running good now, idling good. Perfect, 1500 RPM. That sounds a lot better. That's how it should sound. So it's just a little bit lean. There we go. Comes right back down to idle. Yeah, that sounds really good now. No smoke. Still have 1500 RPM. See. Running great. Sounds really, really good. There's that little popping from the pipes. I think that might be carbon buildup. You can hear like a squeaking. Yeah, that's just the pipe though. Alright, well, I think we're gonna go get a battery for it. Give it a test drive. It's running really good. So I think the seller missed one small thing on this bike. The points. He didn't clean them. Because we cleaned the points, we got spark, and the carbs were pretty good. So he must not have been getting spark. So for 25 years this sat with dirty points, and he forgot to clean them. All right, they didn't have any pre-filled batteries, so we're gonna have to fill it up with acid. First, we're gonna see if it fits. Alright, that's all the way filled up. We're going to let that sit for about 20 minutes and then cap it off and then charge it up. Well, first ride went pretty good. First ride in 25 years. Feels pretty good to get this one running and driving. But we had a small issue with this bike. The plug on the right hand side fell out, so we weren't getting proper spark in the beginning of the first ride. So we changed out the plug with a brand new one, and we haven't had a problem since. So it's now running on both cylinders, you can see. And the other one is running too, so yeah, it was just a plug the whole time. But yeah, other than that, thing is running and driving great. Both brakes work, all the lights work now, the gauges all work, speedo and the tach both work, gas tank's working, so not a single issue with this bike. So I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out. We took the risk buying this thing at 400 bucks, not knowing the issue, and we got this one running and driving today, which feels really good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video on the 1971 Honda CL350 Scrambler. Picking this thing up for 400 bucks, diagnosing it, starting up for the first time in 25 years, and then taking it for the first ride. Definitely a good feeling getting this one up and roadworthy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are